Hi everybody and welcome to day 3 of Befriending Your Body. Today's practice is going to be centered around strengthening your container. And this isn't necessarily strengthening to kind of reach outside, lift weights, sort of make yourself stronger. It's actually about tapping into the resilience and the strength that's already there. So we're going to start in child's pose today. So take your knees nice and wide, the big toes touching, send the bottom back toward the heels. Maybe take some time to press the hands down and just kind of sway side to side. Feel the length of the sides of the body. If your forehead comfortably comes to the ground with the sit bones resting to the heels, great. If not, go ahead, maybe make a little shelf with your forearms for your forehead, just so you bring the ground up to you. And take a deep breath in. And allow the exhale to go all the way to its natural endpoints. Breathing deeply here for just 3 more breaths, just getting into the body through the breath, remembering that our breath is the best gateway for body awareness. And it just bridges that kind of perceived gap, that illusion of a gap between mind and body awareness. Take 1 more deep breath here. And then start to press the weight into your hands. Come onto your hands and knees, find a tabletop, just bringing the knees narrower. And then just taking some time here to press the ground with your hands. Rock back and forwards. Feel how, as you rock to the front of your hands, the fingertips really press down, and then they lighten. So just playing with your kind of natural breaks. And noticing that grip that comes in, that's a good thing. We want to really lean into that kind of nice, strong boundary of the body. Boundaries are very necessary. And then we'll take this back into downward facing dog. So as you're ready, bend the knees generously and then slowly lift the hips. Make this first priority your arms. So keep the knees as bent as I am here. Press the hands down so much that you're yawning open your armpits. And then from there, start to lift the left hip up and bend your right knee, let it twist in a little bit. And then do the same with the other side. So as you find that opening on the right side this time, you're really pushing into your left hand. So what allows us to find this opening now on the left side of the body is my right hand pushing down. You don't have to lift your hand, that was just an example. Take this a few more times. So you find your spaciousness by leaning into that beautiful strength you have. And then becoming still gradually, maybe after 1 more of these, and we'll meet in downward dog. Maybe now finding that you can extend the legs a touch more, but really it's not about that. It's about how much can you power down through your hands and feet here and feel how spacious that makes your joints. If you need to bend your knees, that's great. As you inhale, let's come forward to a high plank, shoulders stacking above the wrists. And as you exhale, return to downward dog. Take this again. Inhale forwards to your plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale forwards to your plank. Can you hold your plank here? I'm going to give you the option to bring the knees down if you want. Otherwise, stay pressing the heels back, pushing the ground away, and feeling the whole body sharing in the effort, which you'll feel anyway if the knees are down. Take 1 more in-breath, and then lower your knees, sit back to your heels, child's pose. Just take a couple of breaths there. Notice how it feels to move in this way. And then when you're ready, we'll return to downward facing dog, pushing the ground away again, always using that ground reaction force. Now, we're going to lift the right leg up here, but I want you to actually drive from your left foot. So press the left foot down as much as you can, even if it's just the ball of the foot. Let the right leg float and then use both hands. So feel how much pressing down can allow this right leg to lift. Maybe it feels good to bend the right knee there and let the hip spiral open a bit. But as you let that right hip spiral open, don't let your left shoulder collapse. Keep pressing the ground weight evenly with both hands. Look forward, draw your right knee to your chest, hug it forward, and then step the foot down, lower the left knee. We're going to draw the hips forwards in space, float the arms forwards and float them up. Maybe the gaze turns skyward. Draw the tailbone down as you lift the back of the heart. Spread a bit more breath into the back of your ribs so your front ribs are slightly drawing down. Take another inhale here and then exhale, return the hands to the floor. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee and step the right foot to a plank. Hold your plank for 3 breaths or drop your knees. So when you just start to feel a little tired, can you find that even distribution of strength? Tap into that density of your body. Let's lift the hips and come into downward dog. So we're going to lift the left leg this time. What I want you to do is really tune into pressing the right foot down so much and both hands down so much that it's like there's a balloon attached to that left leg. So it's really light, feeling that balance of density in space and noticing how you can hold both. Feel free to bend the left knee. Again, try to keep your shoulders exactly as they are, nice and even. Maybe you play with a little bit of an opening in that left hip. And then look forward, left knee to chest. Now, how much can you squeeze the knee in and then step the foot down, lower the back knee down. Take a low lunge, so float the arms forward first and then up. Feel the shoulder blades gliding up the back. And then see if you can even move some of your attention into the back body here. Letting the chin gently draw down so there's not a kind of need to arc back. It's a really strong and supported posture. And then exhale, bring the hands down. Lift the back knee. This time you're going to step your right foot to meet your left foot. Take a moment here, bend your knees, hold opposite elbows and sway. Let the head be heavy. Feel into your feet here. Spread your toes and try and have the weight right even in both feet. So the balls of the feet are grounding, the heels are grounding. Can you feel how you've got almost tripod in each foot? So big toe, baby toe, and heel. That is the most supportive foundation we can have, and we have it in our feet. How amazing is that? Bring your hands up to your shins, press back into the shins, reach the crown of your head forward. Now, the challenging part here is to not let the heels just sink back. Try and bring the weight into the center again. Try and have your sitting bones above your ankles. If you need to bring the hands higher, that's great. Find the strength of this and then exhale, fold over the legs. And then inhale, press down, rise all the way up to stand. And as you exhale, let the palms join together and slowly lower the hands to the chest. Release the arms by the sides. Tadasana, mountain pose. So how is this pose a mountain? Because we are standing in our most optimal alignment. And we're completely present with every single cell of the body in stillness. It's a very challenging posture. But can you really feel into that mountain quality? You are really, really strong. You're shaped by the weather, by the movement of the earth. So you're in it for kind of the long game. You're not just kind of trying to change the shape of your body. You're not trying to rush through things and follow fads. You are here to go the distance. So from here, bring your hands onto your hips. Step your left foot out wide and come to face the long edge of your mat. Have the feet parallel to begin with. And if you want to measure out, I mean, it's sometimes hard if you don't have a mirror, but your wrists would more or less be above your ankles, and then you can drop the hands. Now, we're going to turn the left heel out just a touch, so we create this slight inward rotation of the back thigh. Then with your right leg, you're going to feel it turn from deep within the hip. Toes are going to point to the front of the mat. Then you're going to bend your right knee and stack it over your right ankle. Take your hands to your hips. Notice how that left hip can roll forward. We want that to happen in this pose. Most people don't have a complete turn out, so allow for that slight help. Feel the front ribs draw in. Take a bit more breath into the back ribs. And now bring your fingertips onto your shoulders. So notice how at the moment, perhaps your shoulders are facing the same way as your hips, so slightly off to a diagonal. Keep the hips as they are, and now feel your shoulders turn to face the side. From there, keep the arms at the height of the shoulders as you reach dynamically away. So feel your shoulder blades on your back spreading like a wingspan. Feel a sense that as you reach your arms out of your shoulders, there's an energetic reach from the heart center. So the meridian lines of the heart are extending all the way to the fingertips. Gazing over your right fingertips now. Lunge a little deeper if you can. We're going to hold this warrior two. So notice when it starts to get tricky. Notice when it starts to get a little bit intense. Can you actually be in that intensity with grace and strength? This is not complex, but it is quite hard. Meet the challenge. Notice if you're overworking it as well, and ease off. Be willing to find that happy medium for you. What is strongest for you is going to be different for me, for each and every one of us. Stay longer. How can you refine the shape? 5 more breaths. This is a long hold on purpose. Notice what starts to come up. Notice how the body adapts. Last couple of breaths. And then you're going to inhale, straighten that right leg. Bring the toes in, drop the arms. Take a moment here. Keep the feet wide, but you might wobble your legs out a little bit. Just notice what maybe needs to be kind of discharged there. When we do those long holds, you'll notice it gets your heart rate up. So it's a different kind of effort. Just take a moment now to feel that resilience you have in your body, that innate resilience, the mind and the body acting as one. Let's change sides. Turn the right heel out this time. It's just a little turn out, and then your left thigh from deep within the hip turns now to face the back of your mat. Left toes turn to face the back of your mat. Bend the left knee over the left ankle. Make sure your feet are suitably wide for this. And again, hands to hips, feel how that right hip is turning in. Notice if my tendency personally is to stick my bum out. So I'm going to engage these lower belly muscles to draw up and lengthen the tailbone down. Now taking the fingertips to the shoulders. First of all, feel your shoulders stacking on top of your hips. Then create that rotation without moving the hips. Then reach the arms wide. Gazing over the left fingertips. And we begin this long hold here. So it's hard, but you can do it. It's simple. This pose is very reasonably accessible to most people's bodies because it's externally rotated, which is easier on the body. It's more naturally what the body wants to do. You could even experiment with closing your eyes. Can you simultaneously create a sense of kind of stretching the mat apart with the feet, but also dragging the heels towards one another? Notice how that lifts the inner thighs up and releases the tailbone down. So there's an exploration happening as you are in the pose. We're here 5 more breaths. Do your best to stay with it. If you're shaking, I am actually a little bit, it's not a bad thing. It's the body changing. It's the body shifting. It's the body adapting. It's an incredible thing to witness. Last 2 breaths. And then start to, as you next inhale, straighten the left leg. Ooh. Turn the feet parallel, maybe step them a little narrow, but try and keep them wide. Again, any movement. A little bit of a sway, shake off. It's really good actually. If you feel kind of tempted to shake or even make some sound after those long holds, it's a good thing because we're kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of what's being held in the body, so stuff that gets kind of stored in our soft tissue. When we hold like that, it has no choice but to disperse because we need the space. So if you feel compelled to shake, go ahead and shake. Take your hands to your hips now, bend your knees, send your hips back. So now we kind of get to go into that soft, loosey-goosey space. And then with the hips tilting forward, fold forward, release the hands down, and then take a little lift of the chest here. You might want to put bricks or something under your hands, but you can keep your knees bent. And then we're just simply going to fold here. Now, start by letting the weight go back into the heels and just notice what that feels like. It might feel more like kind of easy, but it's also probably pulling the hamstrings. So once again, bring the weight more central in the feet, maybe even ever so slightly more toward the toes. And then if your knees need to stay bent here, it's not a problem whatsoever. But try and then pull up through the inner thighs and lift the sitting bones to the sky. If your legs are straight, pull up through the front of the quads and then let the spine really release. So what we're feeling here is power and intense strength in the legs to let the upper body drape down. So again, holding the 2 seeming opposites in one experience. And then start to lift your chest up, walk the hands forward, and then bend your knees if they're not already, walk the hands around, frame your right foot as you pivot to the ball of the left foot, step back into downward facing dog, and then lower your knees, take them wide, sit back to your child's pose. And again, bringing any kind of support under your forehead, or even putting a brick between your bottom and your heels if you need. And just feel how this child's pose is compared to when we began practice. And just take a few more breaths here. And then slowly start to press the hands into the ground and just begin to walk yourself back in. Come to kneel. If kneeling isn't comfortable for you, you can switch to cross-legged, but if you're comfortable kneeling, bring your hands to face down on your thighs. You can do the same if you're cross-legged. Either close the eyes or drop the gaze nice and low. And you can even just take your hands onto the thigh muscles there and just maybe even sort of squeeze a little bit. Feel into just how powerful the gross matter of the body is. So we need this body so much. We need the strength. We don't want to kind of reduce it. We don't want to change it, make it smaller to fit certain things. We need this strong container. So really, I encourage you to just always be in celebration of that, whatever you do, whatever exercise you do, whatever attitude you take towards your exercise, always let it come from a foundation of celebrating your strength. And we'll leave that practice there. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.